Carly, thank you so much for being here today. It's an honor. I'm going to take a quick second to introduce you. In 2025, you're going to do 50 million for about 120 units. You're going to have 95% capture rate with the builder that you work with, which, to put it in context, average is 75%, and the goal of any builder is 79%, maybe slightly above. And what I find to be the craziest that I'm really excited to talk about today is you work 4 to 5 hours a day after you've built up your systems. But before that, what are you most proud of?
Ooh, okay. Most proud of work related. I would say the relationships that I've built with my sales reps, with my clients, how close we feel, and how connected I feel to the people I work with, for sure.
It's amazing. It is at the end of it all, it's a relationship driven business, and you're really focusing on that. One question that I'm really curious with, because I've never had a builder loan officer in house, is what does life look like, especially at your size?
Yeah. So every builder is different. With my builder first starting, I would spend a lot of time in the model homes. So I would wake up, I was assigned to two communities. I would drive to the model homes, spend the day with the sales agents, be there, be the subject matter expert, build relationships, connections with them. I would be there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Client facing, and again, just kind of hanging out with the sales reps and connecting with them. And then I would go home, typically work a bit when I got home. When you're in the model homes, your focus is supposed to be client facing and to be building rapport with your sales reps. So I got most of the quality work done at home after. So it was very long days at first. And then, eventually things kind of get a little more flexible as you build those relationships with your sales reps. You don't need to spend so much time in the model homes because the trust is now there, right? So at first, it was very much like 9 to 5 kind of job, being there as much as you can, getting as much face time as you can, and then getting work done as well when you get home, which I'm sure a lot of loan officers can relate to those late hours.
So you had to be kind of on site 8 hours a day. They'll like do whatever you have to do, just like a normal job, but then you have to work afterwards with like the client needs, whatever has to come, like that you actually have to do maybe
Yeah.
your own work.
I would say during the day is in-person relationship building, face to face with clients, face to face with sales reps. And then at home, you're doing your computer work, right? Working on your files, getting ready to prepare a file for underwriting, working on approvals. But the focus in the model home is to really build rapport with your sales rep and build trust in a relationship with your sales rep and be there to answer any questions and help them make sales with clients that are walking in that day.
So really, like the first 8 hours is like really a sales activity, and then you take care of everything else when you go home.
Yeah. Yeah, and you try to get work done while you're there, but again, the primary focus is building up that relationship with the sales reps and getting face time with the clients because you want to capture their business, right?
How long did it take you to build that trust with the sales rep for you?
I consider myself to be extremely personable. Before this, I worked in hospitality. I worked for the Ritz-Carlton, for Nordstrom, for Ruth Chris. I love people. I am not like a numbers computer person at all. Um, I failed algebra. Like I am not someone that really enjoys. I'm not like a, math computer person. I'd never work, as a software developer or anything. It'd be the opposite of me. I love people. So my favorite part about the job is getting to know people. So I would connect with my sales reps. I would take them to happy hour after work, which in the corporate builder world, that's not very typical like it
Hmm.
is in resale. It's a lot more corporately structured, and they're just kind of supposed to use you, and you don't really need to put that time in, right? Because there's these incentives for people to use the in-house lender that gives us such a huge advantage. But I wanted to do it anyway because I wanted to do it. I truly wanted to get to know these people that I'm going to spend every day with. I had two sales reps. One was like an immediate just connection, very alike people, personalities. The other one took a little bit more time. I had to spend a little bit more time with her. I had to prove myself a bit more. I would say I was on a pretty good footing with them after 6 months, as in I know I'm their preferred lender. They trust
Hmm.
me. But I would say at about a year is where that loyalty and that true connection, we feel connected as people. We would be friends and still connected if we didn't work here anymore. About a year for that level to happen. Um, so yeah.
And that's a year of like seeing each other constantly, doing happy hours, interacting,
Hmm.
you putting the work, and in a way they're supposed to trust you and work with you, but
Yeah.
still took a year. Wow.
I would say it took a year to get to that point where I didn't feel like I needed to be in the model homes from 10 to 5 every
Mm.
day. And it probably could have been sooner. I'm one of those people until I feel like 150% confident, not 100% confident. That's when I feel comfortable enough to step away a bit. Um, and yeah, it's still the balance of managing that, like if there's a time where one of my sales reps does write with an outside lender, I think to myself, okay, I need to be there double time for the next 2 months, right? You just have to, how much time you can spend at home and away from the model homes depends on the strength of keeping up with that relationship. So yeah, I would say definitely a solid year is would be um, kind of like the standard before trying to step away more. Yeah.
Makes sense. I want, and then this explains why you have a 95% capture rate. What I'm really curious about is how how is your role and how is your life specifically different from like a regular outside loan officer in the industry?
Mm, you mean as far as like the way my workday goes?
Yeah, how your workday goes, how the client interactions go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So after I was in hospitality, I actually worked a government job before lending. I was a process improvement specialist in the technical space. So I'm really passionate about process. I was always looking for ways to make meetings more efficient, create outlines, give structure, to kind of simplify things. And I took the same approach with lending. So I kind of need, instead of treating every customer differently based on who they are, how you met them, and through how you met. I treat everyone the same exact way. I have a very set systematic process that at this point, I mean, I put it into like spreadsheets and 1, 2, 3, 4 things to cover on phone calls. I have my pre-app phone call that's first, where I cover, you know, dominant buying motives, financial profile questions, collect kind of all the upfront information. And then I have my in-person loan appointment I do. Once someone goes into contract, it's always in person because I know that if someone's sitting in front of me, I'm never going to lose them. It's just not going to happen. Versus handling something over the phone with them and sending them a sheet. If it feels transactional, it is transactional, and they're going to
Mm.
find whoever has a better deal. And someone always does have a better deal than you. It's true. I make sure at those appointments I ask for their commitment at the end. I spend a lot of time in the beginning of those appointments just building rapport. I used to time myself 5 to 10 minutes of just talking to them, getting to know them, um, making it extremely personal. Um, and then from there, once we're into contract, I have a couple more steps I make sure to hit. I do a conditional approval Teams meeting call with the processor. So that way, there's not a disconnection. If they're like, hey, we already gave you this W-2, and why is the processor asking for it? I can be there to explain, I did collect your W-2 up front, but it's blurry or whatever the reason is underwriting's asking for it. That's why we're asking for it again right now. It's little things like that that can make people feel frustrated if you're not right there to answer them and kind of help them understand why we do the things we do and ask for the things we ask for.
Mhm.
Something I also make sure to do is just follow up in that quiet time. Like if you have someone that was conditionally approved and they're not closing for another 5 months, I check in every month, even if I don't need anything from them, just check in, check on how they're doing. I schedule those little check-ins on my calendar. So again, I'm streamlining my process to make it so I don't need to think about what to remember. I just need to make sure my process is solid and then I just need to execute, right? And then the final thing I make sure to do is the final approval phone call, another Teams meeting with the closing disclosure and the loan estimate side by side so they can see anything that's changed. I'm always very conservative upfront on my numbers. So the closing disclosure, which is the final numbers, always looks better than the loan estimate. And that's kind of a second for me to get a positive reaction and a smile out of them and excitement out of them. And the last part of my process is calling after they've closed. So I call about a month or two after they close, ask them how everything's going. If they have any questions, remind them I'm always in their back pocket if they need anything. And every once in a while, someone will mention, I actually have my cousin wants to buy now, and you might get a lead out of it. So I follow that 5-step process like with every single person, no matter what. And I would say after following that and refining that process after a year or so, it just feels like muscle memory now, and that's how I've gotten to this place where I don't need to work as much because I am giving this higher level, in my opinion, of customer service. It's automated. I don't even need to think about it. Um, and it just makes things a lot smoother and easier.
I love it. It's you have it down to a science. There's two things that you said that I want to go back to. One, I is if it feels transactional, it is transactional. I love it. Is it okay if I borrow that and tell it to all my
Yeah,
loan officers? That is
please
so good.
do. Please
It's so
do.
good.
Yeah.
The second thing that you mentioned is that there's always someone that has a lower rate or better terms. That's actually for me really surprising to hear because on being outside originators on my team, builders are known for having like the best rate and best deal, them and credit unions. So who beats you guys?
I would say, like places like PennyMac, any kind of like federal brokerages that are kind of more like wholesalers. I worked for a branch like that where they shop, like 50 different rates and they can send people to the lowest one. It's possible to beat us for sure. I will also say
Rare.
it is rare. It's definitely more rare. But it also depends on the builder. So, and how
Mm.
much they're willing to incentivize a person. Some builders a builder I worked for on the East Coast would only give like 3 to 5 thousand in order to use their in-house lender. So it depends. A lot of builders right now are doing pretty aggressive rate buy downs due to the market, but that's not really typical. So, um, yeah, and then, you always have people that have bought before and they already have a lender, or they have a cousin or Uncle Joe that's a lender. There's always competition.
Makes sense. Going back to your personal life, so outside of doing mortgages, what does life look like? Are you able to turn it off and relax?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things about being in this industry. It's so easy to kind of let it take up your time. I'm very strict with my boundaries. I am not someone that really has my phone on the weekends. I truly believe that it's not about being available all the time, it's about being consistent. So
Mhm.
I've never been a weekend working lender. Um, People know that. I set my away message on. I always set that expectation as well with my borrowers. Um, but they know that as soon as it's 10 a.m. on Monday, that they can call me. So I absolutely shut down. I have my side projects that I work on. I'm actually a professional dancer. So on top of this job, I do perform in a couple different grassroots shows that are here in Reno, as well as a Michael Jackson show in Vegas that I did,
Wow.
and that keeps me so happy that it just takes the job. It makes the job feel like it's less of like your whole world, and
Mhm.
something that you can put your time and energy into, as well as things that actually like really feed your soul and your creativity and your expression, which for me as a dancer is like very important. So I would never give that up for anything.
I love it. It's like you're serving all sides of you. Like you have to fulfill your financial piece and the stability piece, but also your soul and what you crave and the beauty and the art. And you
Mhm.
set strict boundaries with both. I assume you're not dancing while you're in a model home, but you're also not doing loans when you're on stage. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, they do not cross at all. So luckily, yeah, 9 to 5 job versus the shows usually happen. once a weekend, once a month. You can't take on too much either. I can't, be a full-time performer and lender. So I also make sure I'm not spreading myself too thin. But yeah, I mean, if without that, I wouldn't be as happy in my life and I wouldn't be as good as a lender if I weren't as happy in my personal life. So,
What would you say, like, as I hear you, I hear your ability really impressive to serve the both sides of you and really like turn one off. Did you always have that skill, or was it something that you had to cultivate and say like, well, mortgage side is away, I'm not going to stress about it now?
hmm yeah, I would say when I was younger, I had a lot to prove coming out of college, working in a really competitive environment. I lived in Washington, D.C., where everyone's really focused and strict and kind of career focused. It was extremely competitive. And I noticed with the example of women around me that would kind of overwork, not really take care of themselves, put the job first. I used to brag about being stressed out. I used to literally say out loud, if I'm not stressed, I'm not happy. Because I can do it. I can put my head down and work for 10 hours a day. Um, but it was this one good example that I needed in my life of a mentor I met that just somehow did it all. And she glowed and she bragged about her boundaries. And it made me feel like I was doing something wrong, like I had followed the wrong people. Um, and yeah, I mean, she just kind of showed me the way and took me under her wing and surprised me that when you really lay down your boundaries and what you need from the world just responds. And why would you want to manifest or work or attract working for a group that's the culture of overworking, overstressing? It's just not necessary. So yeah, that definitely changed my life. And then just taking more of an interest as I got older into self-care and therapy and just really understanding how important it is to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'd be example to some younger girl overworking her butt off right now to prove it. you know, you kind of become like a permission slip to others when you give yourself that time and love.
The phrase that really stands out to me is that you took pride in being stressed out, saying like, if you're not stressed, you're not happy. It becomes part of our identity for sure. And I think specifically in origination business, we have this culture of work 24/7. You have to like literally answer your damn phone no matter what.
Yep,
Um, and we set that example for our clients, for our referral partners, and they don't even, this is my belief, I don't think they particularly want it or care for it. Well, they'll use it if it's convenient to them.
exactly.
And we kind of just like set this trap for ourselves. And I guess like this goes without saying, you are happier now with less stress, right?
Oh, absolutely. No question.
It's not like you don't have stress. I'm like, oh, so depressed and miserable. No, you're getting to enjoy life now.
Yes. Yeah. I think having hobbies that you love doing, whether it's cooking or painting or dancing or yoga, whatever it is, making sure that that has just as much of space from you in your life as your job is so important.
Amazing. Let's talk about your business if that's okay now.
Sure.
So super high level, let's go over some numbers. You're doing 50 million in 2025 and you're going to do 120 units. For you, how many leads is that? How many credit pulls?
I would say, let's see, on average, I feel like 20, 25 credit pulls a month.
Wow. So you're converting about 30% of your credit pulls into fundings every month.
Yes.
And those are hard pulls, soft pulls, or just combine both?
So we automatically pull the TransUnion. If it's, 740 or above, I typically don't do a hard pull unless they're going into contract. Now, if it's below that, I do ask them, like, hey, your rate's going to be based on your credit score. If I don't have all three bureaus, I'm not exactly sure what your pricing will be. Is that okay with you if I go ahead and pull it? Most people say yes, because they do want, if they're serious about buying and they know they're going to buy my builder's home, they do want to know, they do want accurate numbers, right? So
Gotcha. And for you, so I talk about this with loan officers, and I ask them, what is your point of sale? Meaning, when is the moment that the client decides they work with you? For some people, it's the first conversation. For some loan officers, it's actually the referral partners setting them up for success. What do you think is your point of sale?
I would say when I go over the initial loan estimate, we do again very much incentivize people to use us, fortunately. And if they've already been shopping around and they're dealing with the market rates out there, they look at my rate and they're just like hands down, right? If it's a competitive situation where they are, using a preferred lender from the past or an uncle, or maybe they're getting some sort of 3-2-1 buy it down program that we don't offer, I would say the time is after the competing part is, right? So they're telling me this is the rate I'm getting. It's going to be 3.5 for the first year, 4.5, 5.5. And then I have to do my research, try to sell them on a different product. I'll bring them like a 5-year arm and say, hey, this isn't 3.5, but it's 4.5 for 5 years. This is what you'll save in that 5-year period versus what you're saving in a 3-2-1 buy down. If you're going to stay in the house for at least 5 years, this makes more sense. Um, and I can get them to see that and understand that. At that point is where I'm confident that I have the sale. And I do always, again, like ask for their commitment. Like,
Hmm.
okay, you like these numbers, you've already done your shopping. Can I ask for your commitment to use me and my services? When I feel like I've truly earned that business, right? And if I can get a verbal yes, I almost never lose them.
Wow, I actually very few people I know ask for a verbal commitment, and you give them value, you build the relationship, and you ask for their commitment.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And if a loan officer, let's say like a loan officer that works with a builder or is a builder lender, how would you tell them to build their business? What did you do in those years, tactically speaking? Like, what are the most important things to do to have that 95% capture rate to do 50 million a year in funding?
I would say 80% of it is the relationship you have with your sales rep, because there are some lenders that work for builders out there that do not have a good relationship with the sales rep. And if the sales rep doesn't, just like them as a person, one, but or see the value, why would they go out of their way to sell you to use them? They can take any pre-qualification. I've gone to a place with my sales rep where they tell my clients, you will only get this benefit by using Carly. That's the only way. They genuinely do not want to deal with other lenders. They want to work with me. So it's your sales reps if you work for a builder, or it's your realtors if you work as a outside lender, right? Or a resale lender. So relationships with your sales reps is 1000% the most important thing in what I do. They don't have to use you. You're just the
Hmm.
preferred lender. So
What does the sales rep care about? So one part is the relationship, other parts is serving them. So let's talk about serving them. What is it that they want, and how can the lender serve them?
yeah, aside from just clicking well together, right? You want to work with people you like. So they have to like you as a person, having nothing to do with business. I'd say that's 50%. The other parts are, do you make their lives easier? So for me, I'm really big on helping them with sales. I'll give them kind of like one-liners to use to get people to apply to convert their leads faster. I never forget a lead that's given to me. So I have a pipeline of all the leads' names, no matter how far along we've gotten or not, that the sales reps have given to me. I'll sit down with them weekly. I do this every Tuesday. That's our lead day. And we'll sit down and we'll go through the list, because you know how hard they work, realtors and sales reps, to get people interested in buying a home. And then they pass it off to you, expecting it to be a warm handoff and for you to help them get that sale. So I'm not just a lender, I'm also on the sales side to reaffirm the sales and to help capture the sales. So giving them just really like good information that they can use. For example, we're selling a lot of 7/6 arms right now, and they're now fully amortizing products, not like they used to be in the past. And I've told my sales reps, because they're like, people are really afraid of arms. And I was like, something you can do to circumvent that fear is call it a 7-year fixed, because truly that's what it is right now. Call it a 7-year fix to get them interested, and then put them in front of me, and I'll go through all the details about the arm and the history and why it's such a safer product now. And then they'll use that language that I give them, and it will get people hooked enough to apply or at least talk to me. And so we really are a team. I'm a part of capturing the sale.
One thing I want every loan officer to go back, pause, replay, take notes on. Every Tuesday, you're going with your sales reps and realtors through the leads. They
Yeah,
work so hard on generating leads and getting interested. They're handing us gold. I
yep,
know 98% of the loan officers I know, and these are even great loan officers, they don't talk about the leads. They don't update their realtors and their sales reps on leads. That is the number one thing to show competence. And then you add on everything else, like the sales tactics that Carly's talking about, like literally helping them convert higher or like making their life easier. That those are the 50% of the competence that really make a difference. Uh,
absolutely. I'll add on to that as well. I never use the word declined, can't qualify. Those are the biggest turnoff words you could ever give to a salesperson. They don't want to hear that. Even if the solution is they need to save up $100,000 in order to get their debt to income down, there's a solution. There's always a path forward. They need another cosigner, whatever it is. I will never say we cannot qualify someone. Those words will never come out of my mouth. I'll never say, yeah, just never say we can't do it. Never say never. I just got rid of certain vocabulary words because they don't want to hear it, and it's truly not helpful. So there is always a path forward, even if it's a little far reaching.
it's just a not now.
It's not now, exactly.
So that's the 50% on competence. What's the 50% on relationship building? What do you advise on that?
Relationship building with sales reps and agents.
Yeah.
I would say again, being very curious, and this goes for just life in general, but be curious about people. Like I've truly wanted to get to know my sales reps. I know about their families. I know about what they did before this and why. Um, you become curious about the people around you. You never know what's going to happen. Being curious is what landed me my builder position. I had a loan and resale where I genuinely was just getting to know someone, kind of what they do, and then they ended up landing me an interview with a builder, which has been the best thing in my life. So you just never know what meeting someone, what doors are going to open. Um, and I think just having that perspective, just being genuinely excited to get to know your sales reps and kind of what they do, and like what their parents do or their sons do or whatever, and just connecting with them as much as possible and being curious about who they are and what they're interested in, really.
I love the curiosity. Just follow the curiosity. It's following people's energy. Because if you're curious about them, they're telling us about the things they want to talk about. Uh,
Yeah. One
getting
of
the
my
job.
sales reps, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you're saying first.
I was just going to say one of my sales reps is a huge kind of like outdoorsy, and I started recommending we go on walks because we live in a beautiful place. The sun's always shining here in Reno. It's always beautiful, and her and I go on 2 walks every time we work together. That was just a way to kind of hear her, listen to her, and make her happy by getting to know her more. So,
That's amazing. Um, you said like getting being curious led you to your job interview with a builder. How does actually one become a builder loan officer? And do you recommend it?
I absolutely do. Like I said, I'm a people person. I'm a customer service hospitality person. Um, I did really well in resale, but I am someone who's way more passionate about like streamlining processes and customer service. I like the corporate structure. I like bringing improvements
Mm,
into existing structure. So the builder business can be demanding again, depending on where you're at. When you're starting, you are working like sometimes 9 to 7. It's very metrics based. So if you're not doing well, you're not like on an island by yourself. Like when you're working for like a private lender, you have a microscope on you. And I I do well with that. I like that kind of pressure because it motivates me. It makes me feel like if I do a really good job, which I know I will be rewarded and noticed for it. Private lending for me was just a little, I felt like kind of lonely, like again, like on an island on myself. And I had um, no one to kind of like make happy, or I like being noticed for my hard work and the extra attention I put into things. So you definitely get more of that. Again, it's just more of a corporate environment. Um, I will say the best builder I ever worked for preferred hiring people that didn't have lender experience.
Hmm.
They actually preferred people that worked in hospitality or a kind of customer service based field, and they started them off. And I think a lot of builders do go kind of in this way. They start them off as a loan processor. You have to work there for a year or two, depending on if you have LO experience or not, and then you become an LOA, loan officer assistant, and then a loan officer. So I would say it's great for someone that knows they want to do this and they haven't started yet, because they have a lot of investment into your training. You have mentors, you have people all around you. They kind of guide you through this. Whereas I started kind of like had to learn everything on my own and find like a mentor or two, or people that were willing to take me under their wing. If I could go back and start it all over, I would have absolutely started with a builder.
Right away.
Yeah. Because of the training. I mean, if you have no experience in this and you don't know what you're doing, finding a company that will invest in you and your training is would have been, in my opinion, a lot easier.
That makes so much sense. I actually used to tell people who were curious about becoming a loan officer unlicensed, I would tell them to start with a bank or a credit union, get the training, get the reps in, and then if that culture doesn't work for you, go independent. And if it works for you, stay with them. It seems like builder is just another segment of the same approach, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
How important is understanding your market when you're a builder loan officer, or just you can just say just in as a loan officer it's significant if you want.
It's always important because people trust you, and if they have questions, I mean, what buying a home is like a very nerve-wracking thing. It's one of the usually the biggest investment someone will make in their lifetime. They do a lot of research, and so you have to be the expert so that they don't feel that they need to be, right? So
Mm.
it's almost like anticipating. You can tell when you're talking to someone, like kind of where they're going, and being able to anticipate their needs and their question and get ahead of it creates so much trust. For example, when someone comes to me and they say, well, the Fed just said they're going to cut the rate 2 points. And I can let them know, well, that actually doesn't impact mortgage rates. I'm not sure if you knew this, but that impacts, like car loans. And they're always kind of like, wow, I didn't know that. So when you're teaching them something that's useful, they trust you more. So I think even in the builder business, when we're dealing with like the incentives we do, you still need to prove yourself as a subject matter expert, no matter what.
How did you build your subject matter expertise, and do you still work on it?
Yeah. MBA's Highway was a site that I lived on when I first started, just kind of learning how to watch the rates and keep up with their news updates and learn about the market trends. And, I would say a lot of podcasts, a lot of loan officer podcasts when I was first getting started, because I also needed to just hear like a human being talk about these things as well, not just like data, data, data. Um, and then, yeah, talking to mentors. I mean, multiple sources. Um, and then I would also get updates from like Freddie and Fannie, like sent to my email, like just keeping me up to date with like changes to products and like
Wow.
LLPA waiver changes, just things like that that happen. Yeah, it's always little things like the LLPA waivers changing a couple of years ago and changing the bracket for the pricing of rates depending on credit. That was huge. And I was able to bring a lot of ease to certain customers that were like, oh, my score is a 740. And I was like, well, we actually just had changes to our industry, and that's actually not going to penalize you anymore, and be able to tell them why.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So multiple source, definitely a lot of different sources.
You really just outworked any doubt. Like when you said, like even it reminds me of when you said the moment one of your sales reps is sending a deal somewhere else, you're spending the next 2 months working. It's like you are turning every stone to build your competence, build expertise, and make sure you are winning and you're serving your clients and your referral partners well.
Yes, I think that that's the only way to make it so you only need to work so you can work less than 8 hours a day is maintaining that. So, and once you build it up to that, it's just maintenance, right? And maintenance can look like having a week or two where you are going back to full-time hours if you need to, or doing extra research on the market right now, or whatever it is. You maintaining is a lot easier than rebuilding.
Absolutely. It's kind of like when getting in shape. It can be very difficult to get in shape, especially if we're out of shape. But staying in
Mhm.
shape is a whole lot easier.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah. What advice do you want to share with loan officers, or what question would you like to answer that you wish I asked but I didn't?
Um, I think you asked amazing questions. I would say for loan officers to make these transactions more personable again, get curious about the people that are in front of you. They're not just a client who you're gaining business from. You have no idea what kind of opportunity will open for you by connecting with this person on a personal level. It could open the door to a new job. So having that genuine interest in other people, not just in lending, but in the world as well, is so beneficial. It creates magic, honestly. So I would just say getting kind of out of our heads, and getting out of like being so transaction focused and focusing on people more.
That's perfect. That is such good advice. And I think I needed to hear it because sometimes even I get in this rhythm of like, it's just going through the motions, but it's like really is people and is the biggest decision of their life. If not, if it's not the biggest, it's top three. Can loan officers reach out to you?
Absolutely.
What's the best way?
The best way is my LinkedIn. So Carly Roberts on LinkedIn. That would be the best way. I'm pretty active on there. I check it every other day or so.
Perfect. Carly, thank you so much for being here. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Sam. It was so much fun. Thank you.